Hi everyone, it's Yvette Blowitz from SPAITGIRL.com and welcome to the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast. Super excited to be here with you today in this online audio space and with our very special guest, and her name is Mamta Saha, and she is a psychologist based in Dubai and London. We'll welcome you to the show. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's incredible. Happy New Year to yourself and all of our global audience. It's 2021 and here we are. So, Mamta, can you tell everyone who's tuning in a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to want to become a psychologist?
Yes, absolutely. So, Mamta Saha, I'm a mother of 3 under 9. I have my own business and I'm based in London and Dubai. I was born and brought up in London, and I was predominantly raised by my grandmother, so my mum's mum, so my nan, who actually came to England from India, and I would share a room with her out of choice until I was 13 years old. And she used to meditate twice a day. So it was like living with the Dalai Lama. You know, she would tell me all of her stories from back in the day when there was a partition in India, which she was only 10 when that happened. So she had to leave her home and be a refugee. And then she came to England. So she had loads of challenges in her life. She lost her husband at a really early age. And so I think meditation really helped her to find peace amongst the chaos that she'd been through in her life. And little did I know, she was instilling all of these golden nuggets of wisdom within me at such a young age. And so when I became a teenager and my life started to go up and down like a roller coaster, I really would think about what she taught me and was teaching me. And essentially, she showed me the power of my mind over anything. So over how academically bright you might be or not. In my case, it was not on the bright side. And having clarity in life and things like that, and dealing with conflict. And I think that's what inspired me to study psychology. And so I've been a psychologist for approaching 20 years now. And I love it. I get so much job satisfaction out of it. And it's not even light work to me.
Wow, wow, wow. Your grandmother sounds so incredible. So you stayed with her, shared that room until you're 13, and she taught you meditation. So did you practice with her or watch her, or you were just observing her, obviously?
Yeah, so she was a child. So there was a little meditation center around the corner from our house, and bless her, she couldn't drive, so she'd hitchhike a ride with the milkman and go in the morning at 5 o'clock, and she'd come back and she was just so zenned out, and she'd go in the evening as well. And I think I didn't actually see her meditate or ever even go to the meditation center for the first 13 years of my life. But then she would, you know, when I would be scruffing with my brother and he'd be beating me up and I'd be beating him up, as you do growing up, she would just, ask us questions to say, you know, what good are you getting from this? What would someone who really loved themselves do in this situation? What would God have you do? And we'd be like, what are you talking about? He's just annoying, you know. And my brother would be like, she's just a pain in the backside. And actually those questions, I mean, she lived with us. So those questions we were just immersed in every single day of our lives. She raised us. My parents were out there grafting and working hard, trying to make ends meet as that generation did. And so those were the things that the golden nuggets of wisdom, I like to call them, that she really helped stick in my mind and got me to contemplate between what's happening and what's possible.
Wow.
And I use this now in my work around, and my life around, okay, how much awareness do we have around what's happening? Are we reacting or are we responding? I think that was the biggest thing that I got from it. And, you know, fast forward time, and when I started to work in businesses, I brought meditation into the corporate environment because I just saw so much conflict and people were miserable and backbiting and, you know, not being very nice. And I was like thinking, what would love have you do? But obviously can't say that in a board meeting. So yeah, it's really influenced a lot of my work.
And it was very clear that you could tell that by her going to meditation and on returning, she was very zen, and that you picked up as a small child, meditation must be the key for her being so relaxed and so zen. So what does your meditation practice look like now?
So now even before I open my eyes in the morning, and actually when I go to sleep at night, when I'm just really in that sleepy state, I take about 5 to 10 conscious deep breaths. And I focus on my breathing. You know, being a mum of 3, my youngest is just turned 4, my eldest is 9. So they're still quite little, and they're still, you know, they need me. But those are the moments that I can grab really to center and ground myself. When I have a little bit more time, if I've had an early enough night sleep, I wake up at about 5:30 in the morning, and I typically go outside and sit in the garden if it's not freezing cold. And I'll wear my grandma shawl actually and light a little candle and have my coffee. And I'll do like a 10-minute Deepak Chopra meditation from YouTube. And then I tend to write quite a lot because I'm writing a book at the moment. So I will meditate and I'll think, you know, what is in between the space of the noise and the space of peace. And I extract and I just free flow. I don't even know what I'm writing. It's hilarious. I look back and think, did I really write that? So that's on a good day. That's a luxurious meditation.
That is so beautiful. I actually love Deepak Chopra, and I just this morning did a 15-minute meditation, which was on the Chopra Well YouTube channel, and it was about stress and anxiety and just living that stress-free life. But they're beautiful, like you said, on a luxurious day. It's incredible you're writing a book also. Congratulations on doing that. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
And people, when they think of psychologists, maybe say 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there are so many mixed emotions about what a psychologist does. Why do you go to one? What's your take on what is it you do exactly, or what do you look to achieve? I know that's a really big, broad spectrum because people think you only go to a psychologist if you have mental health issues, but psychology can help in so many areas, can't it? Like especially during COVID-19 and this global pandemic. But a little insight to what you do or offer for our audience would be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of my clients, you know, don't have psychological issues. You know, they don't have depression, or they're not stressed, and they're not anxious, but they feel a void. They feel a void in their lives that gets to a point where they feel like they need a bit of guidance and support. So if you can imagine just like a bundled up ball of wool that might be in someone's mind, or 50 tabs open on your browser, and there's a lot going on, and sometimes you just can't sync with it all. You can't flow, and it might be in your relationships, it might be in your relationship with yourself, it might be at work, it could be anything, it could be your health or fitness, or just generally you can't put your finger on it. You know, there's something doesn't feel right. So what I do is first and foremost, I'm there in no judgment. I'm there to hold space. I'm there to listen, and I'm there to be objective, compassionate, and caring. And I think in the chaos of life, even with lockdown happening, we've lost the quality and the ability to listen intently. Life just is busy, and there's a lot of stimulation, even at home, the TV, the phone, the tablet, the Kindle, you know, that's just counting on one hand. So it's carving out that time to let people have a good listening to. And I use the analogy a lot around, look, I'm going into the loft of your mind, and we all know what a loft looks like, you know, full of dust, boxes, sheets. We have no idea what is where. And I'm going to walk with you, and I'm going to hold your hand. We're just going to take a look at what's working for you and what's not working for you. We're not going to do anything about it, but we're just going to get the full perspective. We're going to get a full picture. So, taking it back to the ball of wool, we unravel it all in a really safe, supportive, caring way. And we say, look, what's serving you and what's not serving you. And then I help people to think about where they are now and where they want to be. And we figure out a practical way that they get there. So that's just, in a nutshell, what I do.
Ah, that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because it was so interesting and so empowering. And there's nothing better how you said you hold space. You listen with the compassion, the kindness, no judgment. And I feel that, like, I have had many psychology sessions over the years and found them to be so valuable, even with things that were going on at work. And there's a difference when you talk to a family member or a friend to the advice you get when it comes to, say, your marriage or your work colleagues, to, say, a professional psychologist who can kind of hold that space and just really allow you to express it, and then have some great ideas on how to address it. And I feel that, I really just feel that sometimes talking to someone like yourself or any trained psychologist can truly help, because you don't come with judgment, or you don't say, oh, I wouldn't do that. No, do this. And, and it's sort of like you have a strategy. And that's why I think I love psychology too, about the growth mindset and how to approach it. Now, you help a lot of people through Instagram, and you have a lot of people who reach out to you. You work, you've got children. What are some other self-care rituals you do to keep well, to keep in balance, or to feel mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually connected and one?
So I think it starts with the breathing, really. I think breath work is everything. So really being conscious of my breath, it's a telltale sign of what's happening in the mind and what's happening in the body. So when I find, there were many years I just didn't breathe properly. I was so anxious. And, when I was studying and, when there might have been conflict or stress. And so getting a reins on my breath has been amazing. So that's something that I don't underestimate. It's something that I am writing about, because breath really grounds you. So in the chaos of life, I just breathe. When I get out of bed, so literally this is minute by minute from when I wake up, because I think the morning really sets your tone. The morning routine is everything. To wake up and have to react to things, which is what I did for many years, and many of us just do because we don't know any different, because you just set your alarm for literally an hour before you need to leave and get up and go, do what you need to do and go. I find that when I was doing that, I found that I was constantly stressed, and it held like a lot of weight and a knot in my stomach. And so I like to be in control of my morning as much as I can be. I mean, obviously, if you've got a baby that's keeping you up through the night, it's harder because you're in you have less control. But now that mine's a little bit older, it's slightly easier in that respect. So what I do at night is I take the Wi-Fi off my phone, so that I turn Wi-Fi off and I turn data off. And so I don't wake up to lots of those red bubbles that are going to tempt me to go and check anything. Before I even look at my phone, and after I've done the breathing, when I put my feet on the ground, I ground myself and I step into an intention. So what is the intention today? So it's one word. It's usually, I'm going to be calm, kind, focused, productive, whatever I want to do for that day, I'll step into that intention. Okay, and this is going to sound crazy, and my husband must think, what the hell is she doing? Because I sit on the edge of the bed for a minute with my palms facing up. And recently, it's so interesting because my grandma passed away a few years ago, and recently I've been asking her to be with me. So, just to be with me. And because I had one of my good friends, George Lamb, she does amazing readings, and she's just set up a business. And she said, Mamta, let me give you a reading. And I said, oh God, okay then. I saw my grandma, and my grandma, it's so weird, but it wasn't weird. She said, and she knew nothing about my grandma. And she said, your grandma said, wear your jewelry, because she'd always say, if you've got jewelry, wear it, and wear your bangle. And oh God, I don't have it on. Whoops. And she's with you. So George said, So thank you, George, if you're listening. And so what I do is I have my palms facing up on my knees, and I say, Nani, be with me, because I used to call her Nani, or I say, universe, I am your instrument. Take away from me what's not going to help me serve your and my purpose, and bring to me what is. And that's literally all within 3 minutes. Okay, so this is not a long-winded thing that takes forever or costs any money. It's so simple.
Oh, wow.
When I get up, I find I'm really centered.
Yeah, that is so touching, because like I grew up, my father's actually Aboriginal Australian, and we grew up knowing, and my mum's actually French, but we grew up knowing that we were a spirit, and that our spirits of our ancestors never die. So the body will perish and go back to the earth, but the spirit will the energy and the spirit will live on. So to hear that when you got your card reading, that without knowing your so it's just so I got goosebumps.
I know.
I hope that brings a lot of comfort for other people that maybe have sadly lost a loved one over the COVID-19 period, or recently, or even a long time ago, because they do say, if you just ask whether you believe in God or the universe, or you had a connection with a loved one, if you ask, you can receive. But that's a really beautiful way to ground yourself. And I'm very much the same. So in the evening, I'll turn my phone completely on airplane mode. I don't have it in my bedroom, so it's in my ensuite. I've got to be really strict where 1 hour before going to bed, I switch it on the airplane mode, and then I just start reading to unwind. And in the morning, I found the same with you. If I go to get my phone instantly and don't connect to my own breath, I'm completely stressed. So I don't touch it for the first 30 to an hour. Now, I want to ask you, there are so many people, especially in London at the moment, that are going through lockdown, and in the world, we're all at different stages. In Australia, it's, summertime and we can do things, but London's cold, miserable, in lockdown. What could someone do that's currently in lockdown to feel good from within? I know you're huge on affirmations. And I don't know if you have your affirmation cards there, but if you do, maybe we could pull one for our listeners who are in lockdown. And big shout out to everyone who's in lockdown. You're not alone. You're going to get through this. Everything's temporary, even this current lockdown and phase.
Completely. This too shall pass. And for everyone listening that's in that situation, is feeling overwhelmed, I'd say, even if you have a minute to yourself, just concentrate on breathing for 45 seconds of that minute, and it will shift your state. It will shift your energy. Think about your narrative. So what are you telling yourself? What mindset have you got? Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? What's true? What's not true? What is the reality? And so, like you said, Yvette, this too shall pass. Nothing is permanent. As the Buddha said, everything is temporary. Stretching, use your body to even just march on the spot. Do some yoga from YouTube, and just listen to your body. I think the body is the biggest navigation system going. So your body's going to guide you. If your body's feeling tired, really sit down, have a cup of tea or coffee, look out of the window, be in nature, and just think about what's in your sphere of control, not what's out of it. I think what happens to a lot of people, and myself included, we can get overwhelmed when we focus our energy and mindset on things that we can't control. How long is this going on for? When's it going to go away, etc.? Those things create more anxiety. But when you think about, what am I doing in the next 30 minutes? How can I use my body in the next 30 minutes? What are the 5 options I've got? How can I carve out time for myself in the next half an hour? When can I do this? What can I do? What can I draw? So pulling on and drawing on different aspects of your own self is what my book is all about, by the way. It's anchoring in chaos that is life. So really how you can utilize all the gifts that you already have so they work for you. Be kind to yourself. So shall I put some affirmations? So these are my affirmations.
That would be amazing. I love your affirmations.
Thank you.
Yeah, your affirmations are beautiful. We'll give Dr. Hannah Carell, who is also the author of How to Break Up with Your Friends, but she's based in Sydney and a huge fan of you, and I love her work too. So yeah, we'll pull a card for our podcast listeners globally just to see what we should set our intention on and focus on for this 2021.
Look what I got. We are all connected.
Oh my goodness, that's so incredible. Inhale and exhale, we're all connected, isn't that? I've got goosebumps again, but that is so beautiful.
That is beautiful. And we really are all connected. I mean, look, we've never met each other, Yvette, and through Hannah, and I contacted Hannah because of her amazing, amazing book, which has like been so helpful to me personally and so many of my clients. And look how we've connected, and the energy that's being passed through the airways. Nobody can deny that exists. So let's not forget to the thing around, when we've lost loved ones, actually, have we really lost them? Or is their environment just looking a little bit different to how we knew it to look? That's all it is on in our hearts. So we might feel loss of friendships, we might feel loss of family members, they might physically leave this pain, but we are all connected, and so we need to find the solace within that. Should I pick another?
Yeah, pick another card. And that's so interesting because I was only thinking like someone might be living at home in London by themselves, thinking they're alone. But here we are today thinking about them and, sending them ideas on self-care and what they can do to feel good from within, and to say this time will pass. You will get through this. Better days are happening. I always say you're one self-care ritual away from feeling good.
Yes.
So once you practice one self-care ritual, it can shift how you feel. Yes, let's read another card for them before.
So the other one is I choose to be grateful.
I choose to be grateful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. These are just so divine cards. I choose to be grateful because I know you're huge on gratitude, journaling, and we could talk all day about all of these incredible things, gratitude and journaling. Do you think before we say goodbye, journaling could really help people this year? Like maybe at the moment they can't afford to see a psychologist. So if you could, that would be incredible. But maybe you're on a really tight budget and you don't feel that you can talk to your sister or your mum or maybe other people because you're scared of judgment.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of journaling before we say goodbye?
So the interesting thing is that psychologists have found that journaling, people who journal it has a healing effect on the body, on ailments and injuries and trauma. So I think just writing in itself is very cathartic, because what you're doing is you're lifting it from your heart and your mind and you're putting it on paper. You're letting it go. Transactionally, you're letting it go. So you're taking that energy out of you, which is consuming you, and you don't deserve to carry that. It's like carrying a load of rocks in a rucksack. Why should you carry that load? No wonder your back's aching. No wonder your spine's like, ouch, what's going on? Your body's trying to tell you something. So by journaling, you definitely lighten and release your load, and you feel better. You just feel better. What happens is that whatever you're journaling about, say if it's something that's really playing on your mind and it's really upsetting you, it dissipates. So it just becomes a bit smaller. And I would say if it doesn't dissipate, keep journaling, keep writing. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where is this coming from? What's the trigger for this? And then maybe reflecting, what would I say to my 7-year-old self if I heard these comments? Because often when you read back what you journal, the language is quite simplistic. So it comes from a place of ego. It comes from our younger self, our inner child. So if we're finding that we're journaling a lot and it's letting go of real heavy stuff, then maybe there's some inner child work to do, which is loving yourself, drawing, being kinder to yourself, noticing how you talk to yourself. Are you saying, oh, I'm so stupid, I always get things wrong? Or are you saying, I love trying new things and I'm always willing to grow? Do you see? So there's a massive difference in the energy. So please keep journaling, reflect on your journaling, and reach out to me. I'm so happy to have DM messages, and I'll always support where I can. And I've got a wealth of resources on my Instagram page and my podcast, Saha Mindset, as well, if people want to listen to anything on grief. I did a great grief podcast with someone on 5 steps to recovery, which is quite interesting. And obviously, hopefully our chat has helped as well.
Yeah, I thank you for the tips on journaling, and I love your Instagram page. I read it, I watch your IGTVs, and it is so therapeutic, and I learn so much. Like, you did a beautiful thing here, the importance of empathy. There are just so many really incredible. This was so interesting also. You did the skin lightening in South Asia as a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you talked a lot about that and the psychological impacts. There was a case study there, phrases to challenge, and that was just so beautiful. That really raised a lot of awareness for myself. And it was so incredible. But there's so many inspiring things you've got here. Exercising the gratitude muscle, and that's on your IGTV. So loads and loads of content there to support everyone. And your Instagram account is SAHA_MAMTA, and I'll include that in the comments below, plus a link so people can stay connected with you. Well, thank you so much, Mamta Saha. I could have spoken to you for hours and hours and hours and hours on the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast, hence why I put the word talk show in it. It's so incredible what you're doing to help others to feel good from within. And you're talking on such diverse topics as well, and raising a lot of awareness and giving people a platform and a voice. And thank you so much for the incredible humanitarian work you do when it comes to helping others too.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work you do as well, because it's just, I think, having these conversations, hopefully we're inspiring. And if we can help one person out there, then I think our work is done.
Yeah, one person is all we need to help. So I'm sure we will today. On that note, love you to bits. We'll say goodbye. And thank you to everyone who's tuning into the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast. I really hope this show has inspired you, empowered you, and helped you today. So be sure to subscribe, to leave a 5-star rating and review, and to tell someone you love too. On that note, let's feel better together. We will say we are all connected, because that was the card that Mamta Saha pulled for us, and I choose to be grateful. Okay, let's say goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.